It's time to rock and roll!
Good morning, everyone, or hello, whatever time of day you're listening to this episode of the Waffle Press Movie Hangouts. I'm your host, Diego Crespo. With me today, as always, is my co-host, Gina Versa.
Hey, good to join you. Glad to be talking Mission Impossible.
Yeah, I got little Tom hanging behind me on the video version of this podcast. Um, I guess people are doing videos on Spotify now. We'll see if we have to do that. I
Hmm.
don't know. I don't care that much, but if we have to, we'll cross that bridge eventually. I like the audio. I
Yeah.
like people being able to listen to us on long drives, which thank you, Adam, specifically for continuously mentioning that they like the long episodes of these for house cleaning and long drives. We got a couple others, but Adam's been really gung-ho about that. So thank you very much. That means a lot. Um, and today, our wonderful guest, Ryan Alva, welcome. Do you like long podcast episodes and do you like video podcasts?
Video podcast I can't really speak to because like the reason I like long ones is what you're describing, which is like long drive, running errands, whatever. I mean, I live in the Bay Area, like I'm from there. And so whenever I would drive up to the Bay, I'm like, if I can fill 5 hours with like less than two full episodes of a podcast, sold. Like
Mm.
the more bloat, the better. But I feel like a video podcast on a drive up to the Bay Area might be ill-advised. So I
Yeah.
would try to avoid it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If you're driving, don't watch video podcasts.
Yeah,
Yeah. Maybe we'll have to do an episode where I just have beef about that because like I'll be on
right.
Spotify and I'll be like, yeah, I want to listen to this podcast, and it goes to the video version first, and it's like that's so much data. I'm specifically doing this so I don't have to watch anything. Like,
Do you guys have like
uh,
a soapbox kind of like episode series where it's just like, here's my beef?
yeah,
Like,
exactly. You know what really grinds my gears? Here's my
yeah,
beef. I like that a lot. But welcome.
mhm,
You and I are just meeting right now, basically for the first time. You have been
yeah,
here before. You talked about Guardians 3 with Gene. So welcome
I
back.
did. Thank
What
you.
have you been
Yeah,
up
no.
to? What's going on? Tell us about yourself again.
Yeah.
What's going on? I am, I guess, by trade, I'm a cinematographer. Just wrapped up grad school over at
Congrats.
AFI. Yep, classes wrapped up last week, so we're kind of in like the purgatory. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
big
we're in
congrats.
the purgatory of summer where you kind of go like, do I treat this a bit like a summer break, go see movies and just detach, or do I go, right, I actually need to like get back to being a functioning member of society. So yeah, I'm floating is where is where I
Yeah.
am right now more than anything. But yeah, catching up on movies. We talked about this a bit before the show, but I did see Thunderbolts recently, a film that I was less high on than other people, I think. But man, Florence, she's so good.
Hmm.
She's so
Carry
good. I'm glad she'll keep popping up in those things.
carries that movie on her back.
Carries it on her absolute back. And it looks great. I mean, like there's so many pieces that are just but that's a sidebar.
Yeah.
Um,
This
but yeah,
podcast
no.
like all sidebars. Don't worry.
Oh, good. I love a sidebar. I'm going to get us off track for Mission Impossible probably
Yeah.
like 10 to 13 times over the course of the next hour. So
Hope so. Yeah.
That is
good.
our
Yeah.
regular
You
Monday to Friday on the
promise?
podcast. Yeah,
Good, good, good.
Yeah, we
yeah,
go on tangents a lot, so
yeah.
welcome
Uh,
to talk about anything because yeah, I love wanted to have you on this one because I love talking Mission Impossible with you and then just all the Tom
I
Cruise
love
sort of
yapping Tom
lore.
and talking Doug. Like,
And Doug, yeah, Doug Lyman.
yeah, all the Doug Lyman updates. You keep me informed on what Doug Lyman is up to more than
Yeah.
anybody I know, and I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, Doug Lyman is a good follow on Instagram because he goes from just talking about like movies to just posting like how your dad would post on Instagram.
Yeah, and then he'll randomly be like shirtless on a boat. Like minus like holding fish, but like that's the energy of like the pictures sometimes.
Mhm.
He's also like an avid story poster. So when I'm late to your messages, sometimes I'll be like,
Mm,
it's gone, like it's ephemeral. Like it just, I won't know what Doug was up to yesterday.
yeah.
It's
oh man,
heartbreaking. Yeah.
that's a lot of stuff is clicking for me right now because I knew Gene was a big Doug Lyman fan, and I like him too.
Mhm.
But I guess this kind of solidifies Gene as like the number one Doug Lyman head. You know,
He's
like
yeah, he's the true Duck head. the true limey. I don't know what's a good.
Oh, the Limey, I like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Gene, do
what
you
are
have a
the
preferred nickname?
yeah? What's your fan
Uh,
base?
I think Limey is kind of funny, so we go
Yeah,
with
the
that.
limeys.
Yeah, you're the
Yeah.
head of the Limeys. Yeah.
Are the hosts Chaos Walking fans?
I like Chaos Walking. I don't think you like Chaos
No, I wasn't crazy about it, but like I wasn't like angry, you know.
Mm. I haven't Chaos Walked yet, so I can't speak to it, but
Walking.
Yeah.
It's just a
I'll
small
take
miracle. It
I'll
was
take the walk at
finished.
some point. Yeah, that it got done at all.
Yeah. Yeah. 4 years, I think it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Stacked
But
cast though, looking
here's
at it now.
oh yeah,
mhm.
that cast is wild.
Crazy.
But I have a question for you since
Hmm.
we're just getting started here. So
Yeah,
you're a cinematographer and a colorist.
I
Uh,
am.
when did you realize like you wanted to pursue these trades, basically?
Oh man. I think film in the kind of broadest sense was always the plan. Like before you understand how movies get made, it was kind of like I want to do movies because I like them and I want that to be my life in some vague way that a child, just decides on. And then pretty much like once I learned that's like, oh, there's a person who like at first I thought it was the person who holds the camera, but obviously now in the world of operators, I know it's more complicated than that. But like it was like, oh, there's a guy who just like holds the camera and gets the shots. Like that was very exciting to me. I'd say honestly, I was like, that is the career path I want to pursue, like middle school and on, probably. I
Mhm.
was I was pretty set in it. Dip my toe in other worlds occasionally. Like you said, I color grade a fair amount. And then I've dabbled a little bit in directing, but that is very much something that it only is like I only want to direct, I think, when like you just need to get something off your chest. Like it's directing is just like a building pressure that you then release by directing once, and then I don't have to do it again for a long time. Like that is sort of my relationship with it. But no, film has been a more or less lifelong plan at this point. I don't know what else I would even do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, it's been great following all your updates too, just at AFI. So yeah.
Yeah, no, those are going to slow down. I'm hoping they become normal career work and
Yeah.
updates
Yeah.
sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, it's nice to get a break.
Yeah.
Honestly, gives me an opportunity to talk to you guys, which I'm not mad about either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Look at that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Do you have any like preferred or favorite cinematographers? Like I don't know if you have like a list or just like, oh yeah, I vibe with this person's work a lot.
Oh man. It's really because our taste obviously evolves and like as the things that you see coming out change, other cinematographers change with it too. So honestly, my like favorite DPs are very much like a flavor of the month kind of situation. At least of the ones that are like working today.
Mhm.
Um, of cinematographers who have passed away, I always push people to go check out the work of James Wong Howe, um, who's just like an absolute all-timer. I remember first, like when I saw Seconds for the first time in the theater, absolutely just like cooked my brain immediately. I was just like, how on earth were they doing this almost 60 years ago? Um, yeah, he's just a total legend. So that is my like plug for one, because otherwise I will go down this rabbit hole
Yeah.
and bloat this episode 10 times over.
No, it's
Like,
totally fine. I mean,
yeah,
that's the Frankenheimer movie, right? Seconds? Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
John
yeah, that
Frankenheimer
movie's
movie.
insane.
Pretty
Gonna have to
unbelievable.
yeah, gonna have to see that now.
Oh,
Yeah,
gee,
definitely
yeah,
check it
you're
out.
gonna lose your mind. You're gonna love that shit.
Yeah,
But
like
yeah,
paranoia thriller type situation.
oh yeah, yeah. You can go check it out. I've not been able to watch on the big screen yet, but one day that'll
Hmm.
happen because that
Yeah.
movie is just gaining in popularity. But we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about the Mission Impossible 8, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. Um, Gene kind of threw this episode together. I wasn't sure if we were gonna do something on it, but I think we kind of have to. It's a pretty big franchise.
Hmm.
It's the last one, allegedly, and I think it will stay the last one.
Yeah.
Not to get all this stuff doesn't matter to the cinematic conversations, but I think it's important to keep in mind for the conversations of the industry. Like these movies basically just don't make money anymore. They're too big. That's not a negative to us. It shouldn't be. It doesn't matter. But it's like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably why this will just be the last one. They're not going to make movies like this right now. So, you know, that's
Yeah.
what it is. It's a little shame.
I think
Well,
I think oh, I was gonna say I think also like Tom Cruise working more with like Warner Brothers. I'm sure is also gonna like if they really wanted to do another one, probably delay it.
oh, just like the shuffling of what studios you're with and so on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we can get into takes, but I guess the quick sidebar on the budget of the film. I
Hmm?
mean, from what I understand, this was a situation where just like COVID ballooned the budget a ton. I mean, obviously, it's hard to know what is like COVID protocols, what is delays to keep paying crew, and what is just the film would have been that expensive regardless.
Mhm.
Um, all the talk of the submarine rig getting out of hand, delays on that, budget ballooning. Like, because what is the declared budget of this film again?
I think it's like it got up to
Like 300
400
million?
million.
Oh, 400 million? Sure. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would imagine that in a properly functioning production, this film would not have cost that much.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Like,
No, and again, like this, none of this is a negative for me, specifically because you brought up like people getting paid through
mhm.
COVID and
Yeah.
other shutdowns with the labor disputes, and obviously, like, those were necessary to make sure people were taken care of. And so that's a big reason why this one cost that much, and why even Dead Reckoning cost more than a mission traditionally would have.
Yeah.
So to me, like, whatever. I think these last two movies seem to be a little more divisive than the rest of them.
Hmm.
We can get
hmm
into that, but ultimately, like, they were like net positive production purposes. Like this is how you do it. You take care of the people you're working with. You take care of the people on the crew. That's good. That should be the
Yeah.
lowest possible bar,
Right.
and a lot of
Yeah.
people don't seem to cross it, but they did. So good job.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But no, I mean we can get like I guess I could get right into we can get right into takes, I suppose. I don't know how you guys
Yeah.
tend to do this here. It's been a
Yeah, yeah,
little bit
yeah.
since
Go for it. I
Guardians.
mean, what's your history with the franchise? We can talk about that too.
Ooh, honestly started early. The first one I saw the first film on VHS
Hmm.
when I was in kindergarten.
Oh wow, okay.
This was around when the second film was like, I think announced but hadn't come out yet. I think I saw it probably in like 99. But I saw it on VHS and I remember really enjoying it. I also remember being terrified of the elevator sequence.
Mm.
That was like a formative like movie fear situation. I was already a very like scared kid of like anything like remotely like I was like scared of Snow White growing up, like that type of energy. And so when, they entertained the idea that someone could be killed by an elevator with spikes, I was like, I don't support that. Like it was like great new fear on top of elevators. It's like what if on top of elevators they literally had like spikes that some unseen person is just like throwing down. So yeah, it was a film that affected me on like a fear level before anything, even if it was one that I like absolutely enjoyed, and I'm sure I didn't understand the story at all.
Yeah.
I'm sure that, De Palma's is did David Kep write it? I forget. Who wrote the first one? Do you guys
Oh
know?
shoot. Let me look into
Uh,
that really quick.
yeah,
Like that was
that's
like a David Kep situation.
Yeah.
Or was it also Robert Town like the second one?
That is David Kep and Robert Town are credited on the
Oh,
first film.
both.
Yeah.
Okay. Fascinating mix of people. But yeah, no, I don't think I understood a word of what they were probably doing, but it felt right?
Mhm.
yeah.
And then second film too, all the like, him going through like the symptoms of Chimera and all those like photos that get increasingly gnarly, very upsetting to me. Because I was 6 when that movie came out and I saw it like right away. But I obviously went back, so it was an early, this stresses me out, but I like it. And I think that kind of became the backbone of the series anyway, like more and more.
Mhm.
And then I think 3 and on I saw in theaters. Um, yeah, no, so it is a like pretty much lifelong relationship with this series,
Yeah.
honestly.
30 something years now.
Yeah, the series is 30. 29 years old and
20,
I'm
yeah, it's almost 30.
31, so pretty
Yeah,
much, yeah, absolutely. A lifelong fan in the truest sense.
yeah.
Damn. Gene, what about
Hmm.
you?
Yeah, I think the introduction for me was Ghost Protocol. So I don't think I just didn't watch the first three for whatever reason. But yeah, Ghost Protocol, which is kind of like a soft relaunch, I would say.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
there's a connective tissue between one and three as a we're doing something new every time, and it's a little bit gnarly, got a little squishier in Ghost Protocol, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, Ghost Protocol. Believe we believe I saw it in IMAX, and
Hmm.
it was at City Walk actually, which is funny.
Oh,
But
really?
Yeah,
yeah,
me too. I saw it
yeah,
there
we
too.
ended up seeing it. Yeah, I think we might have seen it together. I'm not sure because that
Oh,
the
you guys,
preview
I don't know your lore. I realized. I
Oh
was like,
yeah, no,
oh,
we went
yeah.
to high school
in high
together.
school. Yeah,
Oh,
No,
beautiful.
we
Okay,
we saw many movies together back then as
yeah.
well. But I went with my
cool.
family. I remember
Oh,
because
okay, that's right.
I could get into it later. But
Sure, sure.
yeah, I went with family for that one.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember seeing it because it had the preview for Dark Knight Rises, so
Hmm.
got me.
Attached to it.
Yeah, which
Oh,
is
so you
great.
went purely as a like, oh, there's a movie after the Dark Knight Rises preview.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh
That's
shit, no, you
Man.
know what? I'm sorry. I saw it twice because I did go to City Walk with you as well to
hmm
see that. That's right.
yeah.
Okay.
hmm
Yeah.
But no,
Apologies.
as a like cinematographer, that was actually a very formative experience for me
Hmm.
seeing Ghost Protocol in IMAX. Because I saw it at the Metreon in San Francisco.
Oh, love that.
Um,
I was just there. Love that
incredible
theater.
theater. It's the
Yeah.
biggest screen in California. And yeah, you know, it wasn't my first time seeing 70 millimeter IMAX. That was, of course, the Dark Knight, plus like, you know, various science documentaries and things at the Liberty Science Center in New Jersey. But that's, you know,
hmm
that's again another detour. But no, I remember seeing that film and already being interested in like being a cinematographer at that point. I knew who Robert Elswit was. I was like, oh, Brad Bird working with Paul Thomas Anderson, cinematographer. This is a fascinating
Yeah.
pairing of people. Um, and then yeah, the what 10-minute-ish IMAX sequence of that film just
hmm
completely rocked my world. Like
Hmm.
a all-timer memory in a movie theater was that sequence. And kind of cemented the like this is the power of seeing a movie in a theater. Um, and you know something that Tom Cruise has kind of gone to bat for over and over again since then, like in press and then obviously in just like how he approaches making films. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's why people go see Mission Impossible movies is to go, I am experiencing something I could not experience in any room but this one.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just a brief history for myself. I didn't see the first two either. I remember seeing the trailers for three because it was like from director J.J. Abrams, the producer of
Hmm.
Lost, Alias, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, Lost is like running my life at that point. Like my life revolves around Lost. So I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
he's doing a movie. I want to see that. Who's Tom Cruise? You know, like I kind of have knowledge of
Yeah.
Tom Cruise a
Yeah.
little bit. And I remember like family that would usually take me to movies at that age because I couldn't really do that by myself yet. I didn't have a car or I wasn't on the bus that often. Um, they were like, people were getting over Tom Cruise at this point, like just culturally. We don't have to get into that, but like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were like, no, we're kind of done with him. So Ghost Protocol is kind of a reboot of also his life, I think,
Hmm.
Yeah.
as an actor. Um,
It was
and
post like all the Scientology, you know, blowback
Couch.
and everything,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Couch jumping.
Scientology, jumping on Oprah's couch. Like, I think people forget, like, people like just straight up didn't want to see Tom Cruise movies for a bit there,
Oh, he was
which is
persona non grata, yeah.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
I see Mission Impossible 3 on a plane at some point, and
Hmm.
I'm like, oh yeah, this lives up to like my brain. Like I was super hyped for this movie. I don't know why, but I was like, besides J.J. Abrams, I was like, that looks so good. And
Hmm.
I really like that movie. And like, spoiler alert, I still really like that movie.
Yeah.
Um, and then eventually when Ghost Protocol's coming out, I'm like, oh, they're doing another one? Holy shit. And I remember then the conversations were like people we went to school with too, Gene, were like, I
Mm.
don't know. And then they see it eventually too, and they're telling me like, oh yeah, it was really good. And I was like, I know, right? And then from there on, I'm like, all right, mission. Whenever these come out, I'm there. Day one, Tom Cruise comeback season, baby. And I'm basically riding the high up until Dead Reckoning, which I don't hate, but I was very disappointed by, and
Hmm.
it did not come together for me. Although there's a lot of impressive stuff in it, I
Mhm.
was
Hmm.
pretty disappointed by it, and I was feeling better about this movie. And I'll just say it's definitely better than Dead Reckoning to me. I enjoyed this a lot more. There's higher highs here in the back half, especially where I think, holy shit, this is maybe the best like stunt in the franchise. And then they do it again with the plane after the sub. It's a submarine in the plane. Those are
Hmm.
those sequences are unbelievable. But Ryan, as the guest, I want
Yes.
to hear your take now.
Before we venture too far into the meat of the film itself, you touched on something I do want to check on with you guys, which is,
Yeah.
have you recently watched the Oprah interview?
No,
No, it's been a
no.
while.
I know
Okay.
he's just talking about his Katie Holmes,
About
the
Katie
woman.
Holmes.
Yeah.
I watched it yesterday for the first time in years. I don't do well with like secondhand embarrassment type stuff, so I was just like, I don't want any part of that. I went and watched it yesterday,
Mhm.
and it's really nothing. Like, it's
Yeah.
insane that that was a big deal. It is a enthusiastic, like eccentric guy,
Hmm.
just like, you know, shouting that he's in love. He
Yeah.
jumps on the couch once for a second. Like like the culture played it as he's just like hopping up and down.
Yeah.
It's like no, he just like it's kind of him doing like sort of a bit. It's like, how
Yeah.
much are you in love? He's like, this much. Like that's pretty much the energy.
Oh, okay.
And then it moves on. And the energy in the room seems fine. I don't know. Like people acted like it was this like catastrophic thing for his career, and I guess it kind of was.
Yeah.
But it's
Huh.
nothing. Like very strange that that was his albatross for years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is strange. I think it's also just different how like culturally how people interact with celebrities now. Like now
Hmm.
everything's kind of like let's bring out a game show to like interview guests. Let's have them meet hot ones and stuff like that. And I love hot ones. This is not a
Yeah,
dig on
Hot Ones
anything,
is
but it's
great.
just it's so much more like heightened. Where back then it was like, let's sit down and have a
We're just
conversation.
talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
And then
it's that regardless, even if it was like a little stranger, right? Like than
like
what you're
barely.
describing, like
Like
then
yeah, like
I don't know. There's like some truly insane shit that's happened in Hollywood. I don't know why that was the problem. The Scientology thing I
oh,
understand, but like
Yeah.
the
yeah.
couch, not so much.
I was like, if this happened in the age of Twitter, like right now, and the age just with the current social climate and everything, I'd be like, that would be a non-event.
Hmm.
It would just like blow right through all of us like vapor, like just I don't know, fascinating to me
Yeah.
that haunted him through the War of the Worlds and Night and Day era.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But to get back to the actual topic at hand, Final Reckoning. Okay. I definitely like Dead Reckoning more than you did, Diego. I can't speak for Eugene. It's tonally a little unwieldy, of course. I think that its balance of like strange, kind of haunted energy of Fallout, while also being maybe I think the funniest film in the series,
Okay.
is such an odd like overall tone to strike, and I think that movie does it fairly well. Um, it's narratively it's total gobbledygook. I mean, so is Fallout, frankly. But as these movies got larger, I think they got increasingly like kind of labyrinthian in their plotting for no reason.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Like we're here to see like character banter and stunts. And I think that movie trusted that we would enjoy Suits yapping about keys maybe more than some people did. I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but
Sure.
the exchange between all the people leading up to the opening credits in that in Dead Reckoning, I was just like, we are saying the same thing 200 times here. This cannot be the cadence of this film.
Yeah.
But then you see like the car chase in Rome, and it's like totally delightful and completely hilarious. Um, I like Haley Atwell. I think that was a fun addition.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously the looming emptiness that is the lack of Ilsa in the
Yeah.
back half of that film and all of this one is very felt.
Yeah. It's
Um,
just I really miss that character.
oh, she's the best, right? Like
Yeah.
it's, it I understand why she wanted to leave. I mean, if you hear anything about these films, it's that they're a nightmare to make. And I think she was probably just like, I don't want to set aside my life for 15 months while two guys sit in a room and decide where in the world they want to go next week to keep making this movie.
Yeah, it's
I can
not
see that
important.
getting taxing after a while.
Yeah, good for her though, I guess.
Yeah,
She's gonna
get
make
your
Dune.
bag, find some roles, go work on Silo.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Dune.
mean,
Uh,
I'll just say briefly because I remember there was an interview, like, because Dune Part 2 comes out after that, and she was
Yep.
obviously interviewed for that, and she's terrific in those
mhm.
movies as well. And they were like, "Oh, so you think you can come back?" And she was like, "No, they're off doing the next one. I've made three movies in the time that's taken them to make one, like, mission.
Yeah,
I'm good, you know." And it wasn't like to descend or dismay or anything like that. Just, she likes a certain workflow, and those movies require a different
something
workflow.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different
No,
muscle.
it's a shame though. That, because it's like you understand the realities of making a film. And I mean, I guess Mission, as much as any franchise, the like meta text of the people making it and how that weaves into the actual film is like very felt. So I think kind of engaging with her being like, I want off this crazy train,
Yeah.
like you kind of tackle that more directly, I think, when you're watching this, because you're already thinking about like that is Tom Cruise, the actor in the film.
Hmm.
So it's kind of this like parallel experience watching these films is like the reality of making it plus the film itself. Final Reckoning, though, it is a fascinating mix of like a movie that is shredding to pieces in like the first hour and a half, this like clip show, loose ends being, poorly tied together and then setting up new ones, but seemingly by accident.
Yeah.
Um, you know, the just the cutaway after cutaway after cutaway to footage with like a grain overlay slapped on it so that we know it was in the past. And I was just kind of fascinated. I was like, how on earth was this the solution to maybe getting the runtime down? I mean, I don't know what your experience was with the first half of this film, but when they're jumping around, now they're in London, now they're not, now they're in the cave, like the tunnels with Luther, now they're out, now there's, I was feeling this. They test screened, and the second half was deemed way better, and it felt like how can we get through this first hour and change as efficiently as possible in the edit. I, I obviously don't know if that's the reality of it at all, but that's sort of what it felt like to me was they were just going like, let's cut every single corner to get from A to B
Hmm.
while still having the film make sense.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I just felt like I was getting like slammed against the wall. Like it felt
Yeah.
like a car trying to like get around a turd and it's like grinding against the rail and it like isn't falling off the freeway, but it is considering it.
Yeah. That's, I mean, I guess we'll go into full on spoilers, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
because it's like, in addition to that, because I do like the movie, but it's like
Mhm.
also the also just like the s- retconning that they're doing in between the scenes with well, I guess like first Shea Wiggum being the son of the one of the characters from the first movie, and then it didn't really matter
It does
too.
nothing with it.
Yeah.
It
Nothing.
does nothing. Because he even says like he doesn't care, but it's like I don't know why that
I
was
think they
there.
do it to explain why he's like
So driven.
determined to get yeah, but I'm like he's just doing his job. I
Yeah,
think that's
Yeah.
why he's
he's just
driven.
yeah, he's just
Yeah,
driven.
it's more interesting if he is just a guy who's like really committed to his job and has to confront the fact that like, oh, he's going after someone who's like he's going after the wrong guy basically,
Yeah,
you know.
Completely.
Like that's
Yeah.
more interesting to me.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
that he's,
yeah,
the energy of like you're a Palpatine. Like I was like,
yeah,
we don't I don't need these, ends to be tied. Like
Yeah.
hmm,
And it's very strange. It's a very strange film. And I like it more than Dead Reckoning. I wasn't won over by this one entirely either. I think I'm just appreciative that they're going to these lengths to make these movies
yeah,
as well as they
yeah,
can be. But the movie in front of me, I think I'm just a little. I love Fallout. I love, Ryan, that you called it like the plot like gobbledygook and stuff like that. Like it
Yeah,
totally is just
yeah.
like an explanation, like to it's just trying to explain the mechanics as they're happening for the action sequences to keep occurring. And I just happen to love the momentum of the action in that movie so much that I'm like, yeah, it's
Hmm.
just like probably my second favorite of the franchise. I don't really care about anything they're talking about. But like,
Yep.
man, I'm on a ride for that movie.
Hmm.
They're gonna have
Same.
to work overtime to convince me that this isn't the most satisfying version of a franchise finale they could cook up. And it was a Sisyphean task for them to do that. And I can't blame them for not succeeding, but they still tried it, and I didn't feel that they convinced me they should have made more after Fallout, is all I'm saying.
I mean, I always want more of these films. It's something where like the itch that they scratch is so specific, and I think even in more unwieldy versions like the Reckoning films, I think they still scratch that itch and no other series does. Um, like I watch any of the set pieces in like Dead Reckoning, like the getting through all the train cars, and each one is like a mini game of, new like Looney Tunes insanity. Delightful. No one else is doing that. It's great. I also like that, with Tom always throwing himself in those situations that the camera can always be put in a very intimate place for these set pieces that like no one else really gets to do.
Hmm.
Um,
On a
yeah,
biplane, on
yeah, totally
trains.
delightful. Right.
Hmm.
It no, it just even when the story is sort of falling apart, as it does kind of massively in this film,
Yeah, a little bit.
um, at the end of the day, you are still getting these incredibly charismatic actors and these characters that I love. Um, and they're all pretty much like recognizable versions of those characters, even if like the story is unwieldy. It's like that's still the same dude. Like I still love that guy.
Hmm.
I'm like more Benji, fantastic. Like,
Yes, yeah,
um, so I don't know. I if they wanted to make like five more of these, I'd be like, sure, great,
yeah,
fantastic. Maybe write a little more of an outline before you start production. But
yeah. Set pieces and an
yeah,
outline.
like yeah, and an outline. That would be cool. Like, I mean, I don't want to get too far down the road of like nitpicky territory, but just this feels emblematic of the film itself. The like doomsday countdown that President Bassett is like, he keeps looking at this idea that they like cannot understand the entity and it's working behind the scenes and it's this like invisible threat that is slowly just taking the world powers nuclear arsenal into its like system, but they have a precise countdown as to when it will take all the nukes from all the countries.
Yeah,
Like, did they talk to it? Like, I don't normally care about that stuff at all, but that's one that I was like, this is so thin, even by the like beautiful standards of silly action movies,
yeah.
that I was like, this is barely holding together. This is crazy.
Yeah, I guess we could go into that topic. For the entity, I don't know how you guys felt as a now as a in the second movie as a villain because it's such an abstract threat. But yeah, I don't know how they did the entity. I mean it made Joe Biden famously
Right.
like afraid of AI
Oh yeah, that
after
whole thing
watching
on I forgot
part
about
one.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, we gotta do something about it.
The entity is evidently scary enough, basically.
Yeah.
But I, I don't know how it is to experience this sequence in a normal theater. But to be in IMAX sitting frankly
Mhm.
too close, I was row C watching the like entity coffin like virtual reality call,
Yeah.
very overwhelming in a way that I actually was like, this is such a goofy way to like dump info, but it
Hmm.
was such an intense like sensory experience that I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? Honestly, fine, net good. I don't like
Hmm.
because it was, swallowing my field of vision and loud and like you're
Yeah.
staring at that like swirly, like it looks like the IMAX intro, that like swirly blue
Yes.
circle.
Yeah.
for a long time. Like there's sections of it where I'm like, have I been staring at this for 10 seconds or a minute? And I think that's accomplishing what they were trying to do. So at least for that section, love the entity.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
like him for his opinions. I think he has a lot of great ideas.
Yeah.
I yeah, I like the execution of like the cinematic version of the entity. It's when they get to the plot logistics that's it's really messy, and they bring up the occasionally really compelling idea. Like there's almost like this religious zealotry
Yeah.
worshiping the entity,
Hmm.
and that's kind of like a non-entity, haha, by like the middle of the movie in a way. I felt like it
Yeah.
felt like they bring up these ideas and don't carry them through. But again, the sequence like that, um, the idea that like there's this is basically structured like more like a disaster movie than like an espionage movie, and that's actually something I really like about it. It establishes that the threat is so global that it's just like that's why they have to hop around these different places. Now they could have done that, I think, better. They could have ironed that out, and I think we all agree the writing capabilities of this movie. Everyone has done significantly stronger work to carry us into narratives they've crafted. Top Gun Maverick is only a couple years old. Um,
Hmm.
Mhm.
I don't think the writing in that movie is particularly weak. It's
Oh, I think that
very
script
well
is
structured.
airtight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that script is
Yeah.
airtight.
And
Yeah.
I was listening to a McHugh interview actually before we hopped on this call, and
Hmm
he was
Mm.
talking about how that movie basically the experience making Top Gun Maverick has basically guided him and Tom Cruise into making these last two mission movies, where that movie's basically like a metaphor almost for saving cinema in a way, where
Okay.
like okay, we don't
And these ones seem like that also, right?
yeah, where they're like okay, we're not obsolete, like humanity still has like a place in this. We're not going to discard people because machines are because people are trying to get machines to replace workers, basically, right? He doesn't say that, but that is the story of
Yeah.
the world at this moment, um,
hmm
and cinema as well as we're seeing. And I just man, Top Gun Maverick, like that movie does it so cleanly well, and it's yeah, it's airtight. It's so well structured. It's so well paced. And these movies, it's like they have all these ideas. And I think the difference between a Top Gun Maverick and these two movies is that mission movies, they've openly stated as well that they work backwards from the set piece ideas, which worked very well for a time, I think,
hmm
and just stopped working at this point for me. And I don't think many people would disagree with that statement.
Yeah, I do agree that these are by far the most unwieldy of the films. I think followed by Fallout, but obviously Fallout's strengths are so overt and so massive that like it kind of is overpowered. Um, I don't know. I appreciate that. I think every film, at least in my eyes, has a sort of superlative that kind of makes it stand out from the rest of the series, that it does better than every other film in the series. Um, at least like, I'd argue that, like I said, I think Dead Reckoning is the funniest film in the series.
Yeah.
I think that movie is
Mhm.
hilarious. And I think that's really valuable as like a kind of a distinct pivot. And this one, I don't know where you guys land on this, but I think it's not, hmm, it's maybe the like stunt show high of the series
Mm.
on like a pure stunt level. Because I think that what McQuarrie has sometimes struggled with, I think he's an incredible like maestro of set pieces as like full sequences.
Hmm.
Like, but a lot of my kind of favorite McQuarrie movie sequences have never been like the stunt that is in isolation. Like, I think that the Halo jump having like all this lightning and all these clouds and then having to map digital Paris onto the desert because they couldn't shoot that. There's just so much muck that you can't just like live in the fact that we're seeing this unbelievable stunt. And then like the motorcycle jump is okay, but I mean the bar is so insanely high, obviously. But there's
Yeah.
the thing where they have to replace the ramp with a cliff, and so like it looks like he's riding in a digital space, and he's not, but
Yeah.
you can't avoid that. And then like Rogue Nation, I think its only dip is the underwater sequence because there's so much stitching, there's so many different shots. We cut away from it multiple times to like Ilsa and Benji, and I appreciate that this one he finally was able to do the like stunt and have the stunt itself actually be like clear and punchy and effective in a way I maybe haven't felt since like at least to this degree since like Ghost Protocol maybe. Um, and then he also gets to do the sequence thing with the submarine where he gets to tap into that strength he showed in like the Opera House in Rogue Nation and have this like sprawling sequence that just feels so clear. So I don't know. I agree that their writing model may have imploded on these ones a little bit for a number of reasons, but I think they just have distinct merit that kind of gives them enough value to me. I'm doing a lot of
Yeah.
yapping.
No, no,
No,
no.
no, no.
That's
That's why I wanted you on. Please,
some
please.
good
Yeah,
good thoughts on it. Yeah, I would say
yeah.
Gene, what about you?
for for what specifically? Sorry.
Like the highs versus lows of this film smashing
Well,
into each other.
I mean, I think just mm, I mean for me like the lows were, it's like stuff where like yeah, we talked about Chair Wiggum. I was gonna say the Rabbit's Foot retcon was kind of like you know, that was kind of like they're going out of their way to like connect everything. I felt more annoyed with. I wouldn't say annoyed. I would say just kind of like puzzled by. But I mean
Mhm.
the highs of like, when they're in the biplanes or, some of the stun sequences or yeah, just kind of submarine and all the tension. I think like I really enjoyed this movie just as a finale. It worked enough for me. I don't think it was as nostalgia bait as people made it out to be, but yeah, I'm just puzzled by some of the writing really. That was kind of like my issue. Like I don't know, kind of throwing it back to you guys, but Rabbit's Foot retcon, were you okay with that? Because now I wonder what J.J. Abrams thought. Someone must have briefed him, being like, "We're gonna show the MacGuffin
They
or the
said
mystery
they said
box."
J.J. Abrams, this is what it feels like after the Rise of Skywalker thing. They
Oh
said,
yeah,
"How do you like it, buddy?" Like,
how about them apples?
Yeah.
yeah,
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 exactly. McHugh in the Matt Damon role, how you like them
yeah.
apples. Boom.
hmm
Um, as the apparently one of the number one MI3 heads, I don't know if film Twitter really likes that movie too much. I'm
Weird.
discovering. I don't we don't have to
I
get
don't
into
I don't
that.
know if film Twitter exists
No,
anymore.
get into it. Get into it.
Just
It's fine.
well, what's left of film Twitter, the
It's fucked, yeah.
stragglers, us in the wastelands of film
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Um, it seems that people think it's a little goofy and dumb and underwritten, and it's like, yeah, man, but I think it's written like enough. All of these are maybe a little. The strength is rarely in the writing. The strength is in direction, performances, stunts, and action. Um, but as one of the bigger fans of MI3, uh, I'm like actually I'm moderately okay with that one
Hmm.
retcon where it
Okay.
doesn't bother me. Like Benji talks about it in that original movie as like the anti-God, like the
Hmm.
idea that like
hmm
oh well this unknowable thing that will eventually like surpass humanity's like ability to control it, like to the point
Very
where like it
abstract.
will yeah, it's intentionally abstract because that's the mystery box thing.
Yeah.
And for that one movie, I think it works. I think the mystery box is an interesting presentation, and I think Abrams's weakness is that he doesn't know how to land that. I think other people can pick up his ball and run with it very well. I think that's
Right.
happened several times, and I
Yeah.
think other times he's tried to pick up the same ball, he stumbles and sometimes falls in his face and sometimes the
Yeah.
ball hits a baby in the crowd, like it's
hmm
unfortunate, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, I was actually okay with that. And the one thing I did like about it is that it actually looks like MI3. Mission
Hmm.
Impossible 3 looks like unlike any other Mission Impossible movie because it's Tony Scott, cinematographer Dan
Mhm.
Mindell,
Hmm.
J.J. Abrams trying to clearly do like some Michael Bay, Tony Scott like texture in that movie,
Yeah.
for his big debut. So I like that it actually matches the look of that. It looks like a cut scene from that movie to me. Um,
Hmm.
and that
Yeah,
was cool.
there's a lot of obviously, that film does get a lot of flack, like you said. And I think the one that I don't fully understand is people saying this doesn't actually look like a Tony Scott movie. This looks like TV. And I kind of want to go, one, what TV shows are you watching and where can I find them? Because I would like to see them now.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they exist. And two, yeah, like, do I think that in the cut it at times like over relies on close-ups or whatever? Sure, but also that's something I feel sometimes about both of the Scotts films. Like they're 90% medium close-up and then some like very dramatic wide and then medium close-ups again or intense full close-ups. Like that movie, for better or for worse, you could argue it's not effective as a film. I
Hmm.
don't know if I agree personally. I think that I have a lot of fun with that film, but you could find it ineffective. But to say it doesn't look like a Tony Scott film, I don't know, feels a little obtuse to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm with you there.
it
Yeah.
looks like a Tony Scott movie. Like, yeah, it does, do I necessarily think that J.J. Abrams is as refined a visual storyteller as Tony Scott at the height of his powers? No, but like I don't even think it's like that bad an impression.
Yeah.
And having Dan Mindell on, I think does bring a really effective version of that. I mean, Dan Mindell at that point was like fresh off of Domino, the most like Tony Scott looking Tony Scott movie of all time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that it's a strange criticism. As for the retcon thing though,
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
Mm.
I'm neither here nor there on it. I think that movie, it felt less like a mystery box to me and more just like we're kind of doing a winky spy movie thing of get the object. Like
Yeah.
it's like a knowing kind of glib version of a MacGuffin. And so I was
Hmm.
kind of fine with it when they were like, "What is
Okay.
it?" And he said, "And you'll never know." Like
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I thought that was cute. And so to be like, "Oh, it actually like teed up the thing in this movie." I'm like, "That's fine."
Mm.
I'd rather see it with an object than with a character like they do with
Shea Wiggum.
Jim Phelps.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Shea Wiggum, so it's ultimately okay, but I'm like, almost makes me more sad that we're saddling him with that specifically.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, like
Yeah.
at least it's nothing. I think if they pursued that thread at all, I think it would be like a
Revenge.
possible game breaker.
Yeah.
But like, I'm glad that at least they said anyway, and then they just
Yeah.
moved on.
Yeah. I don't
Uh,
know. Yeah.
I,
Well,
I
yeah, I think
mean,
that's fair. Then
with with the entity, I don't know. Did you guys miss the hijinks? Because I liked that in Dead Reckoning, the entity kind of a stinker.
Hmm.
mhm. Very
Like,
proactive. Yeah.
yeah, and like, all the stuff where Gabriel's like, "Oh, you think you're attending a party to find the entity? What if the party like is the entity?"
Yeah.
And then he like looks around, is like head to head spinning, and like, there's all the throbbing blue lights. I was like, "This is so stupid. I love it. Like, this is great."
Yeah. Yeah.
In this one, the entity is just kind of like, "Yeah, I'm gonna blow up the world. I don't have
Yeah.
time for fun." Like,
It's yeah,
at
it's
all.
so yeah, it just feels like it gets like resigned in the pot and it's just kind of waiting for Ethan.
Yeah, the entity is
Yeah.
just kind of tired of like humanity. It's like we had fun last time, but like
Yeah.
I'm kind of sick of you guys. It was sort
Yeah.
of what the entity's doing here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes it a little less interesting, frankly.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I guess the only upside to it for a movie with no entity hijinks and almost no mask work and no
Oh
spy
yeah.
stuff. There's
Yeah.
one mask. The mask gag was fun. I laughed. Got a good reaction. I did appreciate that usually when movies are about the end of the world, it's done in a very like, oh, the stakes never been higher and I could not care less. Like
Hmm.
bigger the stakes, the lower the stakes type thing. I appreciated that the atmosphere in this film actually did have an air of like, oh, this is kind of what like end of the world scenario kind of feels like.
Hmm.
Like it weirdly did. I mean, for a movie that had so many COVID troubles, it kind of did remind me of like the mood in 2020 a little bit,
Mm.
where you're separated from your friends, and it's like the occasional park meetup in a world that kind of feels like otherwise empty, and like phone calls, and everyone's in these like isolated little hubs surrounded
Hmm.
by nothing. And I think that this movie had a lot of that, where it's like we're going to go to the tundra, and between here and the tundra is just the void. And you'll
Yeah.
get there, and it's like a shelter where everyone is kind of sad and confused about the state of the world. Then you go to the next one doing the same thing. And with like all the shadowy lighting too, I was like, no, I think they really did drum up a mood in this film that is like distinctly apocalyptic, that I'd kind of not really seen, much less in a blockbuster.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
appreciate it. Yeah.
yeah, no, no, that's a great point. I think a lot of the franchise endings, which we haven't seen a lot of lately, intentionally. Some franchises end because people don't tune in for them, which is fine. It happens. Um, I think this is the most tonally like efficient one. Like, yeah, we do miss the goofy entity a little bit, but
A little bit.
you know what? Maybe it would have even been more threatening if it was still goofy. It's
Yeah.
like I'm gonna blow up the world, but also, surprise, you're not talking to Benji, you're talking to me again. I got
Yeah.
Yeah,
you.
right.
You
Yeah, yeah,
know?
yeah. Like one more of those little things.
Yeah. Got
But
Goofy
all,
Gabriel.
yeah, I was going to say all the antics were passed on to Gabriel.
Yeah,
You know, Gabriel having the energy of like what does he say? Like you'll never catch me. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
I love his death. His death is like so
oh,
like
just smacking his nuts and then getting like cleaved in the head by the tail of a plane.
yeah,
yeah.
Fantastic.
It's
yeah.
love that. It's so like Looney Tunes, but then it's like such a because he's been such a elusive villain this whole
Hmm.
time. Him just like getting fucking like wrecked by that plane was very
No,
satisfying.
Gabriel's energy in this film is very much like imagining he has like a Tommy gun and he would just like shoot like Gabriel was here
Yeah.
Hmm.
into a wall and then just like twirl the mustache and run away.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Well,
Like I
he got rejected by the entity, so he's you know acting out
true.
because of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
if I can't have the entity, no one can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have I
Or
liked him more in this one than I did the previous one. I
Mm.
didn't really buy him last time, which made the Elsa thing all the more frustrating to me, frankly.
Hmm.
that I'm like, you're the fucking guy who gets her out of this film. It's horrible.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. The Ilsa thing, though, a thing I struggle with in kind of both of these films is the speed that it moves on from death for the sake of like plot.
Hmm.
I find so strange because watching Dead Reckoning back on the same day I saw this one, um, the build up to her actual death is actually, I think, very well executed. I think that like the sound mix and the score and the cross cutting is all like very like kind of like mournful and lovely, and it looks great. Like that sequence like looks really, really wonderful. And then she's dead, and then they're just like explaining to Grace how she needs to disguise herself as Vanessa Kirby within like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Where she's just like
Um,
also just replacing Elsa, at this
Yeah,
point.
and it's why like the Twitter kind of go-to copy paste thing I see a lot of like the shot of them on the rooftop in Venice and the shot of just him on the rooftop of Venice is more emotionally effective to me than it is in the movie itself
Hmm.
because they move on from that shot so much. But I'm like, this movie should stop dead in its tracks when she dies.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, and I had the same experience with like Luther's death at the beginning of this film.
Mm.
Yeah. R.I.P.
It's
King.
R.I.P. to
Yeah.
the King. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lovely scene and Ving Rhames is really good in it.
Yeah.
But man, like as soon as he's dead, I'm like, Benji has no opinion on this.
Yeah. It,
They,
yeah.
Tom barely does. I'm like, he's worked with this guy for 30 years.
Yeah.
He runs out and then he just gets like caught in the streets, covered in dust, and then it's like we got a plot to get back to.
Yeah. Move on.
We don't. I want to hear about how Luther died and everyone's sad. Like, because
Yeah.
it's like I'm sad, but I want to be sad.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know. What was your experience with that?
No, I mean, I'm in complete agreement there. Like, I understand the plot's got to keep rushing forward, but I think you should have the characters like resisting that at least. Be like, hey, we just kind of
Hmm.
went through something here. I need a minute, or some version of that where they're struggling to get through the plot, and then everyone else kind of has to like usher them through it.
Hmm.
Like. I don't know. It felt almost disinterested in having to hit like an important emotional beat because it maybe is the last one. It probably is the last one, and that makes it feel kind of cheap, frankly. You know?
Yeah, I mean the edit is so patient in the set pieces and really lives in like the kind of creaking silence of the submarine. And I think that stuff's so good. I'm like, you could
Yeah,
just apply that. I am perfectly okay with this movie eclipsing 3 hours
yeah,
by adding 10 minutes of slowdown
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
to just like sit in some stuff a little longer. I don't know.
Yeah, that's yeah. I would agree. I
Here,
was gonna,
go
I was
ahead.
gonna say really off topic, but okay. So one, that what's the deal with the submarine guy? It's like
Hmm?
so many memes now. This,
Oh, with Trammell,
yeah,
I love him.
Yeah,
yeah,
I've never
because
seen him in anything. He's just got crazy charisma. So I'm like, all
yeah,
right, that guy's got to keep showing up and stuff.
because his
That I don't know how it was in your theater, but man, biggest reaction of the night was him showing up.
yeah,
Oh yeah?
Oh,
yeah,
biggest applause break in the entire screening was when Trammell Tillman showed up.
yeah.
No, people like
Pe-
Severance.
Is
People
that
love Severance, man.
yeah?
Holy
But
shit.
but it's like when he had with his mustache, he reminded me of when the dude, have you guys seen the video of the guy that like wakes up at like 3 a.m. to like have his day start early? His mustache
Oh,
reminded me of like
oh,
the thing he like the
yeah.
mouthpiece
The
thing he
mouth
wears,
Oh,
tape,
the
uh-huh.
mouth
The mouth
tape.
tape.
that
And that's
ridiculous
like the way
fucking.
just the way his mustache was like shaped, I could not stop thinking about
Like it's
the
so clean. It's such a clean mustache. It's
yeah,
so crisp.
could not
That's
stop thinking
really
about that
funny.
like guy that like wakes up, does outrageous things in like 3 a.m.
J
Puts a
dives
banana.
dives off the side of
Yeah,
the pool at 7:35, but lands in the
yeah.
pool at 7:37. Like,
Spends 4 minutes in the air.
yeah,
Yeah, and then it's like he just grinds all day.
yeah.
That's
You know, just
I
just looking at it, we got to get the entity to at least 10,000. You know, like
yeah, yeah.
it's like in
Oh
playing
man.
Grand Theft Auto,
Yeah.
throws the controller at the screen on a cutscene.
I was just
Insane.
obsessed with the vibe on that submarine though.
Yeah.
hmm
It's so funny that like Ethan Hunt almost dies in the Bering Sea before actually dying in the Bering Sea, but
Hmm.
surviving. Um, yeah, he dives in the sea. He's rescued by scuba divers, and then he gets on this boat, and the submarine is just like a bunch of gays with good vibes.
Yeah.
Like, being snarky and hot, and they're just like, welcome to the like fun sub. Like for a
You know
movie
what?
that's like about like haunted spaces, the most cozy, comfortable vibe, besides maybe like Dunlow's house for a bit,
Mhm.
is like the super cool submarine you don't want to leave. Like
Yeah. What does he tell him when he gets on the submarine? It's like you chose like I forget like what he says, but it's like you chose the right place
oh
or
yeah, I forget
something
what it was, but it
crazy.
was
Yeah.
yeah, it was something really funny.
Yeah.
And then there's the one guy on the sub who's about to ruin the fun.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
some
stabs
some
him.
QAnon guy snuck onto the fun gay submarine.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was gonna say,
wasn't happy about it.
yeah, Dunlow though, I think that was out of all the callbacks, best callback.
Dunlo was great.
Yeah,
What? Yeah,
that was the one I was worried about, and it was like, oh, this is like pretty good.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff here.
yeah, yeah. Dunlo had kind of no reason to be there, but by the end of the movie, I'm like, great part of the team.
Hmm.
Loved him and his wife.
Yeah.
hmm
So fun.
Yeah.
Uh,
No. Mhm.
yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, it was like it had like the potential of like it's all connected, like maybe like he created an entity, but I just love that the fact like this throwaway character from like the like a sequence from the first movie, and then it led to him being like exiled was like where his life turned around. I was like, that's I
Yeah.
don't know, it was something it felt very meaningful, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a lovely notion. The whole like getting kind of bounced out of your life actually kind of allows you to sort of stop and create something kind of meaningful for you.
Hmm.
hmm
I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's lovely. That whole sequence though did remind me that I was reading a letterbox review of this film from Demi Adejuyigbe, who's obviously always very funny on there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And he was pitching possible deleted scenes for this film. One of them was Dunlow's house catches fire. Through the rising smoke, he rushes to grab his most prized possession, a knife from when he got fired 30 years ago that he intends to give to the guy who got him fired as a gift if he so happens to see him. It was completely insane that he gives Ethan the knife. I was like, is this just your trusty knife now and that's why you have
Oh.
it? Or did you grab it as you're getting attacked by Russians and your home's on fire?
I
I
think he
don't
grabbed it.
know.
He
Why
grabbed it
did
to
he?
defend himself, maybe.
Was that the deal? But is that like his go-to defend myself knife?
It would have to be at that. And like, this
Sure.
that's one of those things where
Yeah.
like just logistically, if you look at it a little too long, it's like, man, that might be too stupid. Because it's like, okay, the CIA is not gonna keep the knife. That's like totally evidence in this
They gave
insane
it back.
situation from 30 years ago. They're gonna let that guy keep it.
They gave
I
it
don't
back to
care
him.
because I like him.
Yeah.
No, they would not give him back the knife.
He
But
had
that's
it in his like I'm getting fired box along
yeah.
with like, the apple on the desk and the name tag this is Dunlow and like
Mhm.
Yeah.
a picture of his kid. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it is a creaky movie in the
Mm.
narrative sometimes though.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
but it's okay. I don't know. But it looks great. That's also kind of nice. I appreciated that they weren't trying to do the Brian De Palma impression
Mm.
and
mhm.
having like 3 million canted angles on basic coverage that just like don't stitch together at
Oh
all.
God.
No.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, some of the scene coverage in Dead Reckoning, I was like, this is so like brain scrambling that it's almost entering like interesting avant-garde territory. But I'm like, you're trying to ape like one of the greatest American directors of all time's very distinct visual style that is very hard to get right.
Yeah. That's a big reason why I think I also prefer this movie to Dead Reckoning. I
Hmm.
like even with like the spouts of coverage here, I'm not like trying to track eye lines and keep up with like the intermittent pacing of like a
Hmm.
scene where like even the entity party, where it's like
Yeah.
whoa, people are walking into frame, then it's like okay, a
Where are
low
they standing?
yeah, low
Yeah.
Dutch angle on Palm Clemente. Okay, back to the eye lines, back to someone else walking in the scene. I'm just like hold everyone stop, like slow
Yeah.
down. And that
And
movie
get a
does that
static
like a
wide shot.
lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, this I think this is a return to form for McHugh's visual direction, at least. I know other people really like that. So whatever. Everyone's got different strokes. Everyone's got different tastes. But that one, just like even that brief discussion sidebar we just had on that, like my head's still spinning. Like I cannot wrap my brain around what quite happened there to
Hmm.
assemble that movie that way.
Yeah.
And here, this at least feels cleaner in that regard, if it didn't feel cleaner in other regards to me. So,
I mean, I like that. It's so interesting because it's, the things that are easy to direct can be hard, things that are hard can be easy, all that stuff. It's fascinating that McQuarrie is somebody who, when directing a like $40 million action sequence, is just like the most just gifted wizard of visual economy and clarity and pace. And then you ask him to like, okay, now shoot a conversation. And he's just like he just lights on fire and
Yeah.
spits out something completely indecipherable. Like I mean, I appreciate that he's probably just going for something. Like I know he knows how to shoot like a normal conversation.
Mhm.
And he's like, let's put a little mustard on it. It's like, I guess I appreciate like the effort, but I don't know. I think he found a better balance in this one of clarity and panache in those conversations. He
Mhm.
also did one of my favorite like old Hollywood things that I think we need to bring back in a huge way, which is the like bar of eye light thing. It's
yes.
Mm.
so good
Mhm.
every single time. Did it multiple times. Like while at AFI on my like little short films because they're like these films will never see the light of day. You can do whatever on them. You're just learning. I'm like great. So I did this like I did this several times because it's awesome and it's such good like I am watching a movie. This is movie logic and I'm like swept up. Like yeah, when like Gabriel is standing there and you see his eyes kind of doing this thing, but it's exhilarating like immediately.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be your job to help bring that back. So,
Mhm.
Yeah, I will get in front of the line to push that back into the like visual language of movies. Yeah, just like sharp light, aggressive decisions. I mean the whole scene where like he and Grace are like trapped. There's some just intense shadows. That scene looks awesome and like I mean for a scene coming at a point in that movie where just like you're all over the place, I was at least grounded in like, oh, this is some old school like point source shit on a big screen and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hard shafts of light, deep shadows. To me, that's cinema. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I want more of that for sure.
yeah.
As we wind down a little bit here, Gene, thoughts on hard lights and shadows, and anything else,
No,
basically.
yeah. Well, we need more of those. We definitely need more of those. I agree. But yeah, no, I thought it was a good ending to Mission Impossible. I guess it's last we see. Pretty happy with it. And yeah, I think just it tied up everything as good enough as I felt it could have with like all these plot lines, the like as you said, Ryan, the monolith of this whole plot and the craziness. So yeah, I thought it was yeah, good way to end it.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it is I guess this isn't really a button. I don't want to crack things open too much again, but it just is a kind of, I guess, button to the topic about the visual style. Yeah, shout out to Fraser Taggart. I think that he actually kind of settled into a really nice balance of all these different visual impulses on this film. Um, a guy who has mostly done second unit and action work his entire career as a cinematographer. Um, I believe he was second unit on or like just an additional DP or something
Mm,
on Fallout.
mm,
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, prior to Dead Reckoning, he had only shot like two tiny features that no one has really seen
mhm.
in his career. And then was mostly just doing second unit forever, and then gets pushed from action unit to full-blown DP on just these two colossal films out of nowhere. Um, yeah, and I just think that this film like looks super striking and like you said, looks like a movie in the very, very
Mhm.
abstract, Harry Styles, a movie feeling like a movie
Mhm.
way.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I think he did lovely work on this. Having to kind of fill some big shoes in this series with the various DPs who have worked on it.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, good shout out. If there's anything to really take away from the behind the scenes stuff, apart from like the excellent filmmaking across the board, even in stuff like I'm less fan of, there's clearly good stuff in these last two movies that I really responded to still. I really love how tight they keep their team in front and behind of the camera. You
Mhm.
know, I got a lot of respect for that, looking out for the people they work with and moving them up. Simon Pegg even,
Hmm.
Yeah,
small fun role in Mission Impossible 3. Now one of the co-leads of the franchise. Like
yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
Um, and just that's really cool to see.
yeah.
That commitment, the camaraderie. Um, Oh, okay. Questions for you both. Gene, I think I know
Mhm.
yours,
Yeah.
but for both of you, what's your favorite mission movie if you had to choose? You don't have to rank. I'm curious if you
Mm,
got like a one that you're like, yes, that's my shit right there.
yeah. I just go with Rogue Nation
Like I
as
saw Gene did an
like
episode on a guest podcast that was really
mhm.
good.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
Oh, tight.
yeah, I love that one and introduces Elsa, and then it's just like the first one that has all the team together. So, yeah, love that one.
On mine, honestly, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna say Rogue Nation.
Mm,
I think it is the only time that McQuarrie had a story that just completely functioned beginning to end, kept it pretty simple. Um, there was some really good spy stuff, really great set pieces. It kind of just had like a little bit of all the pieces of the different eras of this series.
hmm.
Um, I also think it's probably the best looking film in the series, in my opinion. I think Elsewit went completely mad on that one. Um,
Yeah,
because it's much more like charred and kind of like nasty, but also like visually romantic and literally romantic than his work on Ghost Protocol. Um, Obviously, it brings in Ilsa, who is never given more to do than she has in that film. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of people's love of Ilsa isn't just like her work on the other films. It's like just residual payoff of everything in that film.
Yeah.
Um, I honestly, if I regret anything in this series going away, besides her character just disappearing, it is the dropping Nessun Dorma as like sort of her theme.
Mm.
Because like when that plays at the end of Rogue Nation, when she like or near the end, when she pitches like running away with her, and then like the opera theme plays again, I'm like, that should have been a thread in this
Yeah.
entire series. It's
Yeah.
so lovely and good. It also has my favorite sequence probably in the series, which is the Opera House.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so unbelievable.
Yeah, great choices. I understand anyone picking uh most of these movies as their favorite and be like, yeah, I completely understand. It's just had that level of quality, which is very rare. Like this isn't a we don't make them like they used to thing. It's just like no, that's really hard to do across six, let alone eight films.
Yeah.
So
Are you a Fallout guy?
it's not my favorite, but it's up there. I rewatched it recently and I was like, fuck,
Mm. So
that's a
good.
really fun movie, even though it's a
Reach.
little
So is your
light.
favorite three?
No, it's the original. It's De Palma's. I
Oh,
think I just
interesting.
like De Palma that much. So it's
Hmm.
it's almost separate from the franchise now. I'm just like, fuck. De Palma with a big budget is like
Hmm.
insane that we
It's
just
pretty
Yeah.
did.
awesome.
Yeah, the 90s
Yeah.
were out of this fucking world. What
Hmm.
happened? They ran out of
Yeah.
coke or something in the industry. We got to get these guys hooked again, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got insider chatter that he's really trying to make one more movie.
Mm.
So I'm hoping that that happens.
Oh,
Hope,
please,
hope he
please.
does.
I
Um,
saw Domino, which is his incomplete film that was still released, and
mm,
you could tell it's like fuck, he's going for it. He just didn't get to finish it for
yeah.
whatever reasons. So please, God, I hope that happens.
Other
Please.
insider goss that I got on the making of this film is that the original actually functioning cut, not assembly, but like actual functioning cut of this film was 4 hours long.
I believe that.
And I am not at all surprised by
Yeah,
that.
yeah. No, makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
Mm. Right.
But Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hmm.
Great to meet you.
Yeah.
Great
Thanks,
talking to
man.
you. We're gonna have you back at some point.
Yeah, I
Um,
would love to come back. This is fun.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Where can the people find you online?
They can find me. I mean, I hate to be plugging Instagram, but sadly, in the
Ah, go
world
ahead.
of working
Mm.
on films,
Yep.
your website more than your website is Instagram. So they can find me there, which is just my name at Ryan Alva, RyanAlva. Some of my photography is there, reel, link to website, things like that.
Yeah.
All right,
Do
great. Yeah, we'll make sure
do
to link
some.
that down below. Gene,
Yeah.
plugs.
I was gonna say, Ryan, you do some good work. So
Oh,
yeah,
thank
check
you.
it
I
out.
appreciate that a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. I'm
But
gonna have to
yeah.
give you a follow right after this too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
But yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Gene9892, and then on Blue Sky too.
Yeah, links down to everything for both of us below, the show, retrospectives. I might do something else about this movie down the road. The failed blockbuster season, failures critically at the box office, but not always in our hearts, is continuing. We'll be back with some more. Have I announced it? If you're on the Patreon, you know what the next couple episodes are. So that's why you should go to the Patreon, subscribe, get some stuff there. Maybe we got some more cooking over on the Patreon soon. I don't know. You'll have to tune in to find out. But thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for watching. We have been professionally unprofessional.